Welcome back. You're still watching Market Fatafat on ET Now, a show where we are highlighting all the buzzing counters in trade as of now. And we have a team of technical experts as well as researchers with us. And on to the technical side, let me welcome on board Osho Krishan onto the technical front from Angel One. Hi, very good afternoon, Osho, and thank you so much for your time. The first counter that you have picked up is Elkem. The farmer is definitely in the pink of health today. Tell us, how is Elkem specifically looking to you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, looking at the technical perspective of Elkem Laboratories is because why I have chosen, because there has been a strong traction in this counter. Undoubtedly, there is some profit earning season or announcement that is going in this counter, because on back of that, the counter has gained approximately 3 to 4% from the opening levels. But looking at the longer duration in this chart, this chart has seen a very strong reversal kind of a pattern on daily time frame. And from the past 2 weeks, it has seen a very strong breakout from the zone of 3650, 3680 odd levels. So from here onwards, one can expect the upward movement to continue. On the short-term perspective, 4100 is the target that I am assuming to be the first resistance for this counter. But once it is able to breach the zone of 4100, then from there onwards, it will be moving in a very strong, or it will be attracting more momentum in the coming period. So overall, it is looking very positive, and one should try to gauge the momentum in this counter.
Already looking positive, and that's the view coming in from Osho. But Elkem also, I just do want to mark that they did come out with their numbers just a short while ago as well. When you look at the numbers also, overall revenue saw growth coming in at 3,440 crores for the quarter. Profits also seeing a sharp increase, almost doubling in terms of the profits of the company this time. And we saw 620 crores in profits, 57 crores after that. We are also seeing an exceptional expense that was there of 57 crores. Keeping an eye out on that, strong expansion in terms of margins as well. So numbers also was something that was quite positive, and that is why that uptick that came in the stock also. Plus, obviously, Osho did highlight some of these numbers coming in terms of the targets that you should be keeping an eye out on, and one of them was 4100. So keeping a close eye on Elkem Labs on the back of its numbers as well. But also, let's look at the numbers that are flashing on the bottom of your screen right now. We have Trent that is reporting its numbers. We're seeing a sharp uptick that has come in the stock, because no doubt, look at the profits of the company. I also want to check whether there's any one-off, but as of now, the profit of the company is at 228 crore versus a 78.9 crore that was there in the last year. So let's look out for some exceptional items if that's there. Even the revenue of the company is seeing a strong growth. We're seeing the strong operational performance coming in from the company as well. So very good performance. Seems like that is what has come in from Trent as of now. Okay, I'm just opening the balance sheet and checking in terms of any exceptional items that we're seeing coming in, because overall this retail space surely seems like Trent is one of these outperformers in the retail space compared to these other companies. And yes, as of now, not much of anything in terms of an exceptional item that I'm seeing coming in. So yeah, nothing on the exceptional item front. Strong growth is only that is the thing that is supporting, and what a jump that we're seeing in the profits of the company. That's why the stock is a buzz as well. Shrishti, look at the uptick. 4.8% as of now as well. Right?
Well, yes, no stopping for Trend, sitting at all-time high levels. But with this, let's move on and let's shift focus to sale from the metal pack, because today we have a note coming in from Citi. The Citi has gone ahead and downgraded the rating on this particular counter. From a buy rating, they have downgraded it to a sell now. What they say is that the Indian steel prices have downside risk, low single-digit ROE versus the pair, and no relative valuation comfort is what they are spotting for sale specifically, and that's why we are seeing the stock under pressure, down about 1.7% in trade as of now.
Okay, downgrade coming in on sale, so not sailing too smoothly over there for sale as of now, but let's keep an eye on that. Let's move on and talk about Concord, because that's been holding on to decent gains, Osho. When you look at it in the last 6 months, 17% return, and specifically it has been like, you see an uptick, then a bit of a correction, then a sharper uptick coming in. Now, is that a trend that we could expect to continue? Because today also we are seeing a sharp uptick coming in the stock as well. Last 5 days specifically, 9% return is what we've seen. So what is the pattern that you're reading on the charts now?
See, overall, as you have mentioned, the counter is already in the zone of higher highs, higher lows in the current financial year. And looking at the recent performance of past 3 days, there has been a strong V-shaped recovery that can be seen in the on the daily chart of Concord. On looking at the broader term perspective, then it is a kind of a cup and handle pattern breakout, which is expected around 750 odd levels. So once it gives a breakout above the zone of 750, then from there onwards, on a medium term time frame, I am saying one can expect 100 to 120 odd levels of up move from here onwards from medium time frame. But overall, the stock is looking very aggressive, very positive as of now. 750 is the immediate resistance zone. Once it is breached, then from there onwards, on immediate basis, 790 to 800 will be the target zone for short-term traders. And even for long-term traders, 860 to 880 can be seen from medium-term perspective.
Okay, that's the technical take on Concor. But Vamakshi, what about DB Realty? The company did come out with its earnings. How are the numbers this time?
Well, Srishti, not just the earnings, but there are a couple of other factors as well on the back of which DB Realty is actually soaring in trade, not just right now, but in fact since the get-go. And when we look at first the numbers, okay, now the revenue has seen an uptick of almost 570% on a year-on-year basis. Revenue has gone up from 10 odd crores to 68 crores. When we talk about the net profit, that number is high by almost 55.5% on a year-on-year basis, and in fact net profit is seeing a very sharp jump, and that is mainly on account of higher other income, because when you look at the other income, it stands at 822 crores for this quarter. So as a result, net profit has actually come in higher at nearly 884 odd crores. The company also reported an EBITDA of almost 52 crores as compared to a loss of nearly 14 crores in the same quarter last year. So good set of numbers is what DB Realty has reported in the second quarter. But not just that, the company also announced sale of its entire stake in a real estate project to Rustomjee Group. They signed a share purchase agreement for selling its stake for two Kingmaker developers for almost 231 odd crores, and this transaction in turn could result in considerable amount of free cash flow to the company. So given a good set of numbers, that announcement coming in, the stock is in focus today. As of now, the stock is up.
Okay, as of now, the stock is up and away in trade. Let's move on, talk about Quest Corp. Why is this one in focus? No doubt, it's numbers that have come in. When you look at it for the company revenue, a bit of a miss coming in on that front. Obviously, operating performance seems like it was in line in terms of the operating performance. Revenue was a slight bit of a miss there. Revenue saw growth of around 11% coming in. 4,748 crores is what the revenue came in at. Operating performance, EBITDA saw 21% growth, while in terms of the margins of the company remained flattish. 3.4% versus 3.2% last year. Net profits of the company, 71% growth there as well. And key factors that are contributing is the key sectors that are contributing to the growth were BFSI, retail as well as manufacturing, and higher than other income as well as lower tax rate is something that led to a better profit growth for the company as well. So on the back of that, let's keep an eye out on Quest Corp, as of now trading with gains of 2.6%.
Okay, moving on then, and Osho, Ramco Cement is the counter that is on your radar. Tell us how the chart's looking like.
The overall, Ramco Cement is looking very positive on short-term perspective, but even on the weekly time frame, it is forming a flat pattern breakout. The breakout is about to happen. It will happen above the zone of 1020 on the closing basis. But on the basis of that, if it happens, then from here onwards, one can expect 1100 and 1120 kind of a target in the short-term period. So overall, technical setup for Ramco Cement is very positive, even for short-term traders or medium-term investment perspective also.
Let's move on to the next stock. And Ansh, Greenply is the stock that you've picked out for us. Why is this one in focus?
So the stock is up over 5% in trade today. Company has reported a solid 23% year-on-year increase in revenue, reaching 608 crore. However, the company's profits saw a decline of around 41% compared to previous year. EBITDA has reached 52 crore, reflecting an 8% increase here. Also, the plywood business revenue grew by 9.7%. Now, if you see the chart of the stock seems to have given a breakout from its cup and handle chart pattern. In addition to that, stock has also surpassed above 100 DMA to touch 1 month high.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Ansh. But moving on, and Osho, ONGC is the counter that you have picked up. The oil and gas space is definitely doing well today. How are you looking at ONGC?
Overall, the counter is looking very positive. The only concern is the psychological mark of 200 odd levels. So once it surpasses the zone of 200, then from there onwards, one can expect the rally to continue. Overall, the setup is very robust, very positive. One should use declines towards the zone of 188 to 190 to buy this counter. For immediate basis, 200 should be the target. But the day we see a breach above the zone of 200, Then from there onwards, 220 should be the next potential target for ONGC for short to medium term time frame.
Okay, but moving on to the next one, and from the pharma space, have a look at Gland Pharma. This was a result candidate yesterday, and today, post the earnings, we have seen great moves coming in, and in the past 2 days, the stock is actually up by 9%. Post the good set of numbers this time, wherein the revenue though was in line, but this time the company has really done well when it comes to the operational performance. Post that, even the management commentary is quite supportive. Firstly, on to the numbers, revenue saw a jump of 31% YOY, though the profit was clocked in at 194 crores, and the EBITDA has seen a jump of 9% on a YOY basis and margins at 23.5%. But key to note is that Silnexi, which is a company that Gland Pharma acquired this January, and they have a 100% acquisition now. X of this business, the EBITDA margin surpasses on a YOY as well as on a Q-on-Q basis. And excluding this business, Gland has achieved EBITDA margin of 34% and expects it to sustain it to 30 to 32%. And Gland's base business is back on track with a superior performance and continues to enhance its complex portfolio, is what the management has highlighted. And they also expanded its facility for the plasma protein portfolio. So a great set of performance supported by a positive management commentary.
Surely, but let's move on. And also, Osho, you picked out Zydus Life for us. Zydus Life on the technical front, what are the charts now indicating for Zydus Life? 13% returns is what we've seen in the last 6 months. YTD performance has been much stronger versus the 6 months. YTD growth was around 41%. What is the outlook now?
See, overall, this counter has seen a very strong up move from the zone of 300 odd levels towards the zone of 640, 630 odd levels. So from there onwards, there has been some kind of price-wise correction, which is to be considered very healthy after such a strong rally in this counter. But looking at the overall technical setup, it has formed a very strong rounding bottom formation, and overall pharma space is looking very positive as of now. So the dip that we have seen in the recent period towards the zone of 580, 590 odd levels. So these should be used to accumulate this counter for immediate upside of 650 to 660 on immediate basis. And once we see a breakout, then from there onwards, again, there could be 80 to 120 odd points of upsurge in Zydus Life Sciences.
But moving on, and Vamakshi, one of the recent listing, that is RR Kabel, that's up 10% in trade today. Tell us why is that so?
Well, Srishti, the stock is definitely surging in trade, like you rightly pointed out, on the back of a stellar set of numbers. As of now, as you can see, the stock is trading near the day's highest point, up nearly 10%. And that is because the company witnessed a jump of almost 17.7% in the revenue. And with that, the revenue now stands at 1,610 odd crores. Not just that, their operational performance has also seen a marked improvement, with their margins especially seeing a jump of almost 280 basis points on a year-on-year basis. And with that, the EBITDA margin now stands at 7.5%. But moreover, when we talk about the net profit, that has more than doubled from 35 crores seen in the same quarter last year to around 75 crores this time around. Now, when we talk about the W&C segment, they have managed to register a growth of almost 24%. The EBIT has almost doubled out here from 126 odd crores to 258 crores. And in fact, that has come in on the back of margin expansion. But nevertheless, the FMEG segment, even despite registering a growth of almost 20%, they've witnessed, it has remained negative, and that was mainly on account of higher fixed costs as well as lower capacity utilization. So all in all, the numbers for RR Kabel look quite promising, a stellar set, and that is the reason why we are seeing a very sharp uptick in the counter.
Well, yes. But moving on then, and Osho, what's your take on Titan? Post the earnings, we did see the stock surging in trade, but as of now, how is Titan looking to you on charts?
See, overall, looking at the festivities, that is just on the doorstep, so one can expect a very good, decent up rally in Titan. But looking at the technical perspective, the first restriction that it is facing is near the zone of 3300. Once it breaches 3300 on a very decisive note, then from here onwards there will be approximately 100 point of up rally on a very immediate basis can be seen on this counter. So one should definitely keep a strong track on the zone of 3300. Once it sees a very strong surpass, then from there onwards, for short term perspective, one can have a decent up run, and even for medium term perspective, the overall counter is looking very fabulous, and one should definitely look for investment perspective for Titan and for coming short to medium term perspective.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Titan. Let's move on to the next one. And Ansh, VRL Logistics. Why is this one in focus?
The company has reported a notable 8.4% year-on-year increase in revenue, totaling 709 crore. However, EBITDA has decreased slightly to 91.7 crore, down by around 1% compared to previous year, leading to an EBITDA margin of 12.9% compared to previous year's 14.1%. Profit also saw significant decline of 35%. It's important to note that there was an exceptional item of around 48 crore in the results. Now, if we see the chart, because of weak earning, stock opened lower today but gave a strong reversal from around 200 DMA, giving a pullback of 3% on an intraday basis.
Okay, moving on then, and let's shift focus to Bharat Forge from the auto space. The company did come out with a good set of earnings just yesterday, and post that we did see a surge of around 4% coming in for this counter, but today it did see some profit booking, as well as there are brokerage commentaries coming in, wherein Jefferies has maintained its underperformed rating rather, but have hiked the target price from 750 rupees earlier to 850 rupees now. But there you go, Jefferies is actually looking at a target of 850 rupees, which is substantially lower from what Bharat Forge is trading with right now. But what Jefferies is saying that the standalone business that has done well, the subsidiaries continue to perform weak, but the timing of the long-awaited domestic gun orders remain uncertain. Like the structural story, but are concerned on the cyclical headwinds in the exports and the rich valuations at which Bharat Forge is currently trading at. And on the back of this, the stock is down about 1.3% as of now.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that. Let's move on, talk about Glenmark then, and Glenmark Pharmaceuticals, Osho. What are the charts indicating for this one at 759? Still an attractive buy?
See, overall, as I have mentioned, that pharma companies are looking very attractive as of now. Glenmark has not done significantly well in the recent period. It has seen a very subdued movement in the past 2 weeks, approximately hovering near the zone of 760. So from here onwards, the time it breaches the zone of 760, 762 odd levels, then from here onwards, one can expect a decent rally towards the zone of 830 to 840 on immediate basis. So one should definitely keep this counter in their radar, because looking at the overall pharma sector, this counter is still having potential for upsurge in a very short-term perspective. Even on the downside, the support is very nearby, near to 730-35 odd levels. So definitely from the risk and reward point of view, this counter is looking very attractive. From traders community also, they can even look to accumulate this counter for immediate target of 830-840 odd zone.
Okay. Keeping an eye on Glenmark Pharma there, but let's move on and talk about Gujarat State Petro. This one is gaining in trade on the back of its earnings, and when you look at it, overall it jumped up as much as intraday today was as much as 6%. As of now, obviously that 6% high is given off. That was the highest level we've seen since May 11th, 2023. Now, this natural gas transmission company actually posted a 69% growth on a year-on-year basis for the September quarter in its net profits, coming in at 532 crores. Even the revenues of the company saw a sharp growth of around 21 to 22%. And on the back of that, Nuvama has reiterated its buy rating, and they believe that the company will be a key beneficiary of the additional LNG imports that will be there. They expect the company's volumes to rise in fiscal 2025, supported by upcoming LNG terminals in Gujarat, improved demand. That is also word coming in from Motilal Oswal as well. So yes, brokerages are surely giving it a thumbs up. The street also is managing to give it a thumbs up. Opened almost the day's highest point, given up those gains, but still holding on to 1.6% of gains as of now, Shrishti.
Okay, we're moving on, and Osho Hero Corp, which was up around 2% just yesterday, is seeing some profit booking as of now. Tell us how the chart's looking like.
See, overall, Hero Moto is looking very attractive at current levels, because on technical perspective, it has seen a breakout from the sloping trend line in the month of October. And after after that there has been some kind of correction on which it has been consolidating thoroughly on the same neckline, and from the previous trading session there has been some kind of traction in the counter going on. So looking at the overall technical setup that it has made in the recent period, one should definitely try to accumulate this counter. On immediate basis, 3250 to 3300 should be acting as the first resistance or the target for Hero Moto, and on the downside the support is very nearby, near to 3050 odd level. So one should definitely try to accumulate it for short-term perspective.
Okay, but let's talk about Radico Khaitan, then another earnings candidate, and the last time I checked the stock was trading near to its day's highest point. There you go, 4% uptick coming in on this front. But talking about the earnings, then this time the revenue has seen a healthy jump of 21.5% on a YY basis. Even the profits have seen a jump of close to 20% from 52 crores same quarter last year to almost 62 crores this time around. EBITDA too is up 35%, and the margins have seen a substantial jump from 11.8% to 13% this time around. And on the back of stellar set of earnings followed by a positive management commentary, we are seeing Radico Khaitan surging in trade.
Okay, that was stock number 28, but let's move on to stock number 29 coming in from the FMCG pack, Osho Godrej Consumers. What is the stock looking like for this one on the charts?
See, Godrej CP has seen a very decent correction from the zone of 1100 towards the zone of 960 in the recent period. But the main traction that it has made in the last weekend, that on Friday it has gained a very strong up move was seen in Godrej CP, which has given a breakout from the sloping trend line that was even backed by robust volume. So that is the first sign of reversal in this counter, and this has happened near the 200-day SMA and even the cluster of all the EMAs on the daily time frame. So overall, looking at the technical setup, it is the first reversal candidate that we have traced as of now. So from here onwards, there can be a strong up rally towards the zone of 1100 on immediate basis that can be seen in Godrej CP.
1100 on an immediate basis is what we could expect from Godrej, but let's look at the numbers that are flashing on your screen. Was ever ready as well. Seems like operationally the numbers are good because margins have seen an expansion of around 100 basis point approximately, to be precise around 70 basis point, 12.7% versus 11.4%. So yes, 120 basis point expansion there. Beg your pardon. Other than that, revenues a bit of a decline there. Net profits a 57% jump, and that is why we're seeing an uptick coming in after the operational performance seems to be better. So let's keep an eye out on Ever Ready on the back of its numbers as well. But with that, we are absolutely out of time in this edition of Market Fatafat on ET Now. Thank you so much, Osho, Kunal, Ansh, as well as Amakshi for joining in with us. And it's going to be a goodbye from Shrishti, myself, as well as the team who put this show together. Don't go anywhere. Closing trades will take the action forward.